Hello, my friends. My name is 𝗧𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗃, and welcome back to another Step It Up stamping video where we take a very simple card and then step it up with some extra embellishments, some extra cardstock. But we do 3 different cards that will allow you to make a card that fits where you're at in your own stamping journey. So today we're using the Branching Out bundle. I love this bundle so much. I can't even begin to tell you. One of the reasons why is because I'm going to start, strangely enough, with the dies. I love these dies because not only does it cut out some of the elements from the stamp set, which is always helpful, but it also has these awesome frames, and all these frames nest inside one another. So they're very, very versatile. Then if you jump on over to the stamp set, you can see that it has this fabulous set of sentiments, everything from the hello, which I love this font, to it could be Christmas, it could be birthday, sending lots of love, happy moments, thinking of you. It pretty much covers most of the occasions that you will need. So it's a very versatile stamp set. But what I love the most is this is what is known as a two-step stamping stamp set from Stampin' Up. I think I've bought every two-step stamping stamp set there is because it's so easy to use. And let me explain why. Let's say that you want to make a pine bough, which we're going to do today. I'm going to show you this. And you want this to be in brown. Then you can add some of the pine boughs in green. And then you can add the brown pine cones. And it's just all going to come together easily because you're just going to use different stamps with different ink. And they all go together. So let me show you what I mean by that. And I am actually going to switch my camera over. There we go. Now this is our first card. I call this our Busy Bee card. This is the card that you're going to want to make if you are a beginner stamper, or if you're like me, someone who needs to stamp in a hurry. And let me move my camera down just a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. So what I've done here is this is a crumb cake card base, some garden green cardstock, and then I've stamped the Great Big Long Branch in Early Espresso. So that's 1 ink pad and 1 stamp, right? Then I've done the pine boughs, needles, I guess we would call them. And I stamped it once in garden green, and then I stamped it again, just to give it a little bit more depth. So again, stamp once, ink up your stamp once, stamp it again without re-inking. That way you're getting that depth and variation in color. And then what we're going to do after I filled in all the pine boughs, I'm going to do some pine cones, and I did those in pecan pie, just to give it a little bit of depth of color. And then down here at the bottom, I just stamped the happiest birthday sentiment in Early Espresso ink. All right, so this is our quick and easy card, what I call our Busy Bee card. Now we're going to go into our Worker Bee card, and this is for those of you that are a little bit more experienced with card making. Maybe you like to put a little bit more work into your cards so that they're not so simple. You can see that it's fairly similar. I still have the crumb cake background, the garden green mat, and I still have this stamped, but how I did it instead was I took this piece of Very Vanilla and this piece of Very Vanilla. I didn't do the garden green yet, and this will all be in the instructions. It's very, very easy to do, along with a hint I gave you on how to make this even easier. But you're going to lay this piece of Very Vanilla on top of this piece of Very Vanilla and then stamp the exact same way that we stamped it here. It's just that you're stamping on 2 pieces of Very Vanilla cardstock, right? Then what we'll do is we'll remove this piece, mat this on a piece of garden green cardstock, mat it back down on this piece, and that's how you get sort of that layered look. Isn't that fun? So easy to do. Now, if you use as your adhesive, which I do, let me bring it out, the multi-purpose liquid glue, the hint I gave you in the tutorial is that if you put a little bit on, just very little, on this piece right here, the smaller piece, let it dry a minute, 2 minutes, depends on the climate where you're at. And then that will start to make that glue tacky. So then you can put it down on this piece of 𝗧𝗂𝗶𝗹𝗯, stamp it, it won't move, and then very gently lift it up and it won't rip your paper. So that's my tip for you, because if you let the multi-purpose liquid glue dry, not totally dry, but just until it gets tacky, then it almost becomes like a removable glue, okay? All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. We're going to stamp the happy birthday on some crumb cake, and we're going to punch that circle out with the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. And then to really snazz this puppy up, we are going to add some of the streaked dots, which I really can't get a good picture of, but guys, they're gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. And they work well for a masculine card. I know I get a lot of my friends tell me, Barb, I just have so much trouble making masculine cards. Well, this set is perfect for it. And you've got birthday, you've got thinking of you, you've got everything. It really lends itself well to a masculine card. All right, now we're going to go into the Queen Bee card. And this card is for those of you that are experienced card makers and you really want to step it up a lot. Now you can see that this part right here, I did it the exact same way I did this, but the difference is I die cut my vanilla pieces first. Let me bring this up so you can see how those die cuts look with that really fun stitching. Now remember, these are part of the branching out dies from the bundle. And I love that you save 10% when you buy a bundle. That's my favorite thing of all about a bundle. But this cardstock, look at how this opens. Isn't this fun? Let me put it down. I'm picking it up, which is causing a problem. Let me lift my camera up just a teeny bit. So you could see that I cut 2 identical pieces. I stamped the sentiment on here. I stamped just like we did on the front of card here. The only difference is that rather than stamping the pine cones in pecan pie, I die cut the pine cones out of the, let me think, it'll come to me, the earthen toned metallic specialty paper. Now it says that it's brown. I think it's kind of coppery, but look how shiny that is. And oh my gosh, those dies are beautiful. And then I just added some of the early espresso linen thread. It comes in a combo pack with Old Olive, which obviously I didn't want to use on this card, but it's just so fun. Kind of ties that all together with the early espresso in the sentiment and the branch. And then again, when you open this up, you can see that this is kind of a special fun fold. It's not a full-size card. And I've got all the measurements for you on that, so you don't have to worry about that. But what I did is I glued this down first, and then when I went to glue this down, I made sure that it lined up. So let me show you that again. Here's the bottom piece. Then I put glue on the piece behind here. You don't want any glue here. You're going to glue your card shut, right? So I just put glue on this part, and then I put it down. Before I glued it on here, I lined it up, and then I pressed it down. I hope that makes sense. Once you do it, you'll totally get it. It's super easy. But I just wanted to make sure that these 2 pieces were lined up. And then this is my favorite part. This was actually an afterthought, because as I was making this card, I realized I needed a gift card for a friend of mine. And so what I did is I cut another one of the labels from the dies. I just scored it and folded it so that this is behind. Then I glued this whole thing onto the top flap. Now what I want to caution you with, and I made this very clear in the instructions, is you want thin layers of glue around here. I also added just a little bit of glue right here to hold it down, but not very much. Really important, because if you do that, your gift card holder will not go through. You can see, so just like right there and right there, just to hold it down. And then any normal size gift card will fit in there. And I thought the Starbucks green gift card was perfect because it's almost the same color, a little bit darker than the garden green ink. Isn't that fun, guys? and so easy to do. This could be a Christmas card with a gift card, obviously a birthday like we have here. It could be for anything. So let me bring the cards back out. We have our, and I'm going to lift my camera up again. Sorry, hope I don't make you seasick. So we've got our Busy Bee card. We've got our Worker Bee card for when you want to do a little bit more work. And then we have this really fun Queen Bee card. So if you're on Facebook watching this live or even the recording, let me know which one is your favorite and which one you would be most likely to make, because that helps me design cards moving into the future. Now for me this week, I'm going to surprise you, I think. For me this week, this is my favorite card. This is the card, well, okay. This is the card I would be most likely to make. It's fast, it's easy. I think it's really pretty. I love the Worker Bee card, but I'm very happy. And part of it is this two-step stamping. So I could put together 50 of these in no time. Very, very easy to do. The Worker Bee card would take me more time, but I do think this is my favorite card because I love the gift card holder part of it. And I love these dies. They just work really well together. And it takes a little bit more time, yes, but not that much more time because the dies do all the work for you, right? So, okay, my friends, there you go. This is today's Step It Up Stamping with the Branching Out bundle, which is in the 2025 Holiday Stampin' Up catalog. That's where you can find this. And I hope you enjoyed today's cards. I'll be back next week with another Step It Up Stamping. Talk to you later, my friends. Bye.